Okay, back with some more how many dudes. We're doing a tier 3 run, and then the special thing planned about this stream is I'm going to be tier listing dudes after the run, so see how that goes. Yeah, let's just start it up. Just double check everything's recording. Yeah, it's got the mic, it's got the game audio, right? So we're good. Okay, Psionic, Knight Dude, Spartan Dude. I think they're all like solid first choices. I would probably pick the Knight here. Yeah, I think that's what I'm gonna do. The other two aren't bad, but Knight's like good enough to get in, I think. Hopefully our second dude is hopefully like a decent healer or something. Healthy Greaves, Smelling Salts, Universal Healthcare. Healthy Greaves, pretty good. Don't mind that. Let's see, would accept like any decent healer. Yeah, I could just pick Cleric because I think Cleric's pretty bad, but I've heard some people say Cleric's not terrible. I had like one decent run with Cleric. Yeah, I'll give him a shot, sure. I heard they just, and it makes sense, they get better late game, right? Because they have stuff that feels better if people are grouped up. Half full glass, dog tags. Dog tags, not at this point. I can't really do anything. So half full glass, restock. Purple heart, rage bait. Rage bait's like fine, I think. Purple heart's not really doing anything. Love it though, so let's restock with the dice. Pad helmet, ring is shielding. Probably not gonna overheal much, but could a little bit maybe with a cleric. I think we'll take it, but eh. See, gooses and little ducks, sure. Cave dude, medic dude, Spartan dude. Already have like a healer, so don't love medic dude here. He's also just not a very good healer. So cave dude, Spartan dude. Cave dude's just too powerful. It's not fun, I think. Try out some dudes I haven't tried out much. I tried out Spartan a decent bit. Medic enough to know he's terrible. Cave dude enough to know he's strong. So it's reroll. Zombie, Quantum, Ninja. Give Ninja another shot. I think he's just like decent, but sure. Probably just more clerics at this point. Tend to go pretty pretty heavy on the healers early on, so Lieutenant Sigil, False Face, Smoke Bomb. Smoke Bomb's pretty appealing, but I think we gotta go with Lieutenant Sigil. Like, Ninja needs crit bad at least. So. Warlock, Psionic, Finance. I think Finance is like a solid addition. The other two are tanks that to me are like mediocre tanks. Finance isn't exactly amazing, but like solid. I think we're just gonna reroll though. Spartan Medic Explorer. Two like flame healers and a Spartan. Chef, Hacker, Wizard. I think I'll grab the Wizard. It's like a solid second DPS character. He's like moderately tanky, the Wizard, in some ways, if you get all those relics. Oops. Move that around. Mana Collector, Ember Staff. Ember Staff is kind of weird because he's not fireballing enough at this point to really get a bunch of crit, so let's grab the Mana Collector. More Knights, sure. Especially with the Belt Degrees. Knights are a pretty good pickup at this point. Book of Shadows, False Face, Blacksmith's Hammer. False Face is not bad for a ninja, otherwise it's just like okay for everyone else. Book of Shadows is pretty good though. Blacksmith's Hammer could do something. We have some temporary health. Occasionally with overheals. I think Book of Shadows is just too good though. We get this, we get the one relic that makes shurikens hit, like he throws an additional shuriken. Shurikens are just flying like nuts at that point. Especially if we get a bunch of crit on the ninja. Wonder who a fifth dude would what fifth dude would work well on this team. Enchanted Girdle is pretty useful, but Ever-Burning Torch, I think it's gotta be picked here. The Lost Road ability on the Wizard. Okay, got more consumables, sure. Holy Water. Definitely not bad here. I think I'll take it. Restock or Hidden Daggers. Do a restock. Detective Cloak, not bad though. More temporary health. Fairy Ring's not bad either though. I think this is like too vital for the cleric, so makes him tankier and makes his heals a lot better. Also, regular dude and knight, dang. Bard, Farmer, Electrician. We have like 2 damage dealers, a healer, a tank, so we're pretty well rounded right now. I wouldn't mind some sort of extra support though, like defensively. Either like a healer, like a paladin, dentist, something. Assassin could kind of be that. He does reduce enemies' damage. I think both of these damage dealers are pretty awful. Me and Ranger, I'm right going with a couple damage dealers I think are like not amazing, so. Quantum, Vikings, Spartan. This is the 5th time we've seen Spartan. Do we just go Quantum, dude? Like a bit of extra healing alongside our Cleric. It seems fine, yeah. More knights, sure. Sharpen Stars is one of those ones that gets a lot better later, in my opinion at least, because you have more crit chance, so your chance of throwing a shuriken goes up, typically. So it stacks a little bit more. I think we just go with the 2-sided scroll. More wizard, sure. Ancient sword, beam burrito. Don't love either of them. Force field, cage tiger. A force field. People should be going low on occasion, so. Crocodile and poison dart frogs. I didn't really hit very many. Crocodile kind of owned us there. Blacksmith's hammer, black sheep, stasis cube. Go with the blacksmith's hammer. 30% max HP is a lot. The second part's not going to help too much right now, but definitely could be crazy by the end of their run. Black belt, scrubs, ear gauges, ear gouges. Not really sure. Black belt. Like fine on ninja. He does have some base evasion. He gets even more with like Relic or 2. Could be like his main line of defense, really. Especially when we pick the black belt, so. No one else really needs the black belt, and scrubs could go on Quantum Dude, for sure. 20% deflection. Scales his heals based on attack power, so. I think the black belt wins out here, though. Right? Unless I want to put the ghillie suit on the ninja. Yeah, I think the scrub is actually the best thing we could put in the quantum, so. Just got the 36% deflection now. Should win at this point, I think. Yeah. So 1 consumable, we won this underground match, that's good. Heating pad, golden glove, grappling dummy. Not really doing lifesteal or mischance stuff, we're doing like a small bit of evasion stuff. I think we'll go with that. I think we get our ninja back next round. That'd be good. No, it's actually the round after this. Hyenas and mantis shrimps. Should be no problem, I think. I hope. Knight, Ninja. Let's go Knight with the Belted Greaves. Yeah, we need more healers, sure. The vest, the cube. I think since we went, no, we didn't go Black Belt Ninja. It's still decent though. We do the Golden Glove, right? So we have reasons for evasion, unlike everybody. Yeah, let's go with it. There's Mana Collector for Lava Pendant. Mana Collector is usable for now. Golden Glove for wave function. For the Quan dude, yeah. Ninjas. Want to move together too? Sure. 150, 160 here. Yeah, that's good. Motivational poster, Arcane Monocle. Arcane Monocle is like okay. Don't really need the crit damage for now. Second part's like fine. I think we just use the dice here. Die, I suppose. Yeah, bagpipes, not bad. More taunting, more toughness. Can't complain about that. Kind of running low on consumables. Could have bought a dude juice there, but I think 3's good enough to hold us for now. Like hold us over, I mean. Schrodinger's box, Beam Burrito, Holy Symbol. Holy Symbol. Holy Symbol's a nice backup plan. As is like all like the revive relics, and it heals a little bit as well. It's rare this thing's heal is not as good as it feels like it should be. I've had like several clerics dying around. You would think this would be pretty high on their healing list. It's like doing like less than 10% by far. Doing like a couple percent maybe. But the revive part's like good enough, I think. That's good enough. Don't know how worth it is really to go into like these fights that you know you're gonna have to use a consumable for to get through. The consumables are like 100 baseline on this difficulty, so maybe it's just not worth it. Red chance, run speed, max HP, attack power, healing received. I can see going the pretzel on the ninja. I can see going like max HP on the knight. If we go hot pot, it'd probably be on cleric. Maybe on quantum. Kind of just leaning towards the pretzel on ninja though. He really needs crit. We're not guaranteed to see crit food again. Yep. 27%. Plus run speed isn't like the worst stat I think for ninja, so. Knight, probably. Kinda just wanna prioritize Knights a little bit until we get the Belt of Grease max stacks. Also Ninja, and hopefully nobody else. Yeah, we're fine. Ninja, Wizard. Go Ninja, sure. Ooh, went a bit low there. Yeah. Kind of just spam healers for a while and we'll be fine, I think. Cage Tiger, Enchanted Girdle. Still not much I expect wizards to die at this point with their ever-burning torch, right? It's like provides a good amount of temporary health for them. Maybe we just restock this. Fairy Buckler, Fairy Ring. Fairy Ring to me is good enough. Yeah. It's not bad. I feel like your Strange Spores are just pretty amazing with Fairy Ring, so. And Strange Spores are good enough that them at half price is also just pretty good as well. Big B Goats, sure. Dang, our ninjas sure are squishy. And they kind of are without like a lot of healing or like their smoke bomb or anything. So, lava pendant and wave function and golden glove and mana collector back. Bunch of goats. Okay, 10th night, and then we could chill on nights for a while because our belt grease is at max stacks. Alright, let's see. Ninja, Quantum. Let's do a check on who has the most relics. Quantum is like the least relics tied with the Ninja. Like our two least effective dudes, I suppose. But they do have a food and a trinket, so I think we just go heavy on the healers, like usual. Cleric. We have a good amount of rocks for the cleric, right? Yeah. These are important ones too, so. Spores. Dude juice. I think we're good at 4. I'm hoping I don't regret not buying this, but 3 bullfrogs though, actually. Let's restock and on like a meteor, nah. Buy a dude juice. Really hoping to re-roll a couple times and find like a Bald Lightning for this fight. Let's get ready to use a Strange Spore. Yeah, we're trying to get known without like a lightning or something. Throw Revive out. Dang. This is definitely one of the tougher boss battles. Spellbook, Quark Nugget, Hidden Daggers. Spellbook's pretty important. It's a lot of damage for the wizard. The other two are solid, but I think we gotta go with this. Fedora, Shovel, Bongos. If we're going Fedora on anyone, it'd probably be the wizard at this point, because we have the least of them. You'd only have 6 stacks. It's like okay at this point. I think we could do that. The other two aren't very good. just like put a low priority on the wizard, right? Hopefully get the stacks to like 20 or 30 by the end of the run. Undead relics, sure. I like a lot of undead relics. Wizard or knight? We do still want some wizards. Kind of two I want the least of right now. I'll take a wizard, I guess, but yeah. Just always weird, feels weird taking a duty of Fedora on because you don't want many of them, but still probably gonna want around 10 to like 15 by the end of the run at least, so fine. Entanglement, Clerical Error. Clerical Error is a good bit of damage. Entanglement, definitely not bad this early. Lost our ability for quantum dudes, right? I'll take that. What the heck? Did our wizard just like get deleted immediately? Must have spawned like right next to Silverback or something. Who's Entanglement, which we just got? Mixtape. Yeah? I like 20% evasion on their ninja. Who's this for super position? Super not bad, so sure. The Wizard Knight. Choice again. I like wolves and alpha wolves have got to be like the least threatening enemies in the game. It's weird. Look, even these guys are like more threatening to our health. Actually went a bit low in this fight. Right, that's a bunch of ducks. Like, I know there are much greater numbers, but if you told me I had to fight a bunch of ducks or like one wolf, I think I'm picking a bunch of ducks. Black Sheep, Power Siphon. Power Siphon's like cool because we're wizards sometimes. Maybe? They're gonna have a good amount of temporary health, right? This is a weird route if we don't have like a bunch of consistent temporary health going out, but our wizards are at least getting a bunch, so sure. It's not often I'm at round 50 I'm this low on consumables though. Might be about to go lower, looks like we might die here. No? Yeah, we're okay. What the heck? It's like wizard and knight choice every time. Shield belt, work nugget, battle standard. Go with battle standard. It's like fine for everybody, but really good for ninja. What's up with dudes just getting deleted in the first second of combat? What? We're getting deleted the whole combat apparently. Dang. That unicorn messed us up. Metamori, Gravestone, Ritual Dagger. Metamori is always just like solid. Gravestone is like comp dependent. I think Ritual Dagger is just good enough. Like regen plus some random direct hits. Not bad. Let's see, definitely go Quantum Dude. Kind of surprised we're lacking so much healing with these two healers on team. Granted, I think they're not the best two healers. This run might be confirming it for me. Bunch of rams, sure. Super good on clerics for the moment. Living Will, Parry Buckler. Parry Buckler, kind of lame. Thoughts and Prayers, Odang Button. Thoughts and Prayers does what again? Evasion and increased healing from Divine Pulse. Not bad. Specifically says Divine Pulse, unfortunately, so it's not going to increase the healing of our other healer, but two decent effects, so I'll take it. See, let's check the meters. The Wizard's by far doing the most damage, followed by Ninja. Quantum's doing more healing than Cleric. I'm not surprised by that. I think Cleric's pretty bad, so. Let's go more Quantum, sure. Alright, we got our Relics back, that's great. Our two healers, which one do we desire more? 4 relics on the Cleric, 3 on the Quantum, but he's got a Trinket. We don't have like the most important relic for the Quantum, which is this. I think it's close, we'll just take the Quantum, sure. Could probably start getting some more wizards. 12 stacks. At this point, it's probably more beneficial to get a wizard than keep it at its current number, so. Yeah, I'll take a wizard here. Straight Spores and a Dew Juice, sure. Grizzly Bears and Ravens, huh? Keep it slow initially. Just like move everyone away from the Grizzly Bears so they don't mess us up too quick. Now let's teleport them to the Grizzly Bears to like mob up on them. Yeah. I had a feeling this team wasn't going to be tanky enough, and kind of showing in this fight, huh? What can we do to fix that? I'm not really sure what we could do. Max HP and crit exposure. It's like okay. Cosmic Geo, Cork Nugget. Cork Nugget would be pretty good, right? Or temporary health. Got like the power siphon to help out as well. So temporary health is more beneficial than normal. Bad credit, taser, air horn. So like air horn on the cleric. He heals based upon his DPS. So like bad credit on the knight because he's taking so much damage. It'll be a decent amount of damage reduction, and like a decent amount of damage as well because it expels his damage. I think the air horn on the cleric's like a good enough idea. The run speed isn't too important, but run speed helps like anyone, I guess. Oh, also I just took the hard fight when I'm down like a dozen plus dudes. That probably wasn't smart. Lost 3 dudes so far. Or 3, no 4 actually. Yeah, I don't think we're taking this fight. We're down like a third of our dudes. And this does not look like a freebie. So no. Tiger and honey badgers, 100 seagulls. The seagulls will go entirely after the ninja. And I don't think the ninja is tanky enough that we can face 100 seagulls and survive. With like a bunch of our dudes down. Not that this fight's really that much easier though. Tiger and some honey badgers. I think it is easier. Okay, this tiger's messing us up. Okay, only lost 2 dudes, not terrible. Leopards and alpha wolves, 300 gooses. Leopards and alpha wolves, this could be jinxing it, but I think this isn't too tough a battle. I think we can take it. Like these fights, I feel like they're pretty equal in difficulty. Get a lot of our dudes back in like 1 or 2 rounds. So hopefully we can stop the bleeding soon. I also get to his shop in 2 rounds, but don't want to buy like 5 dude juice. That would not be fun. Okay, I was right at least. That wasn't a tough fight, even though it was a hard fight. Okay, we're only down 6 dudes now. 249 mantis shrimp. We had nothing, right, that benefits from being thrown. We don't have like a padded helmet, snapback sneakers, so yeah, these mantis shrimps will probably mess us up. It's like a good heuristic to just not face like a couple hundred or more of these guys unless you have some relics that trigger for being thrown. Mobius strip. Yeah. Not really. Because we have no consumables right now. I mean, it does get you immediately 2 dew juice, which is cool. Is it worth buying just for that sake? Because we do need dew juice here, I guess. More dew juice and a health potion. Jumbo ship, crocodiles, feral hogs. I think we're fine. We're only down 2 dudes. Hopefully we can turn this around and keep facing a hard battle. I feel like if you get in like a pit where you have to keep doing the easy battle, you're just gonna lose anyway because you're just not gonna have the relics to support win the end game. Okay, it was a strip. Losing Everburning Torch is kind of lame, but Wizards are probably gonna die left and right now. Actually, ninjas are dying more than wizards still. Yeah, more clerics, sure. 883 ducks. Yeah, getting free Ball Lightning is pretty welcome. Okay, we went dangerously low there, but at least nobody died. Quantums, Clerics, Knights. Sure. That Cleric's a little bit more than the other two. They're increasing our door stacks. So we really badly need the Quantum Tunnel at this point. It's basically just doubles the healing of the Quantum Dude. He's our most common dude, so that'd be very helpful. Knight Dude, sure, maybe. Knight and Wizard combo is showing up like half the time. It's crazy. Don't really want either of these dudes too much. Let's take a Wizard, sure. Ember Staff, Black Sheep, restock. Great Helm. Great Helm's okay. Knight taunts enough. We have reason for temporary health, of course, so sure. Dang, we're kind of getting owned by this Rhino. If we're hoping to use the Dude Juice after a battle, we're kind of getting steamrolled there. Yeah. I feel like this run's a loss, but not gonna stop me from trying. Attack speed, evasion, toughness, crit chance, deflection, max HP. Like deflection, max HP on our Quantums. They got the scrubs. Both like decent stats for them. I think we'll do that. Deflection is the 42%. Nice. Yeah. I'm not used to having such a bad team. I'm just like snap picking the hard fight. When like most of the time this is probably not the best idea. Yeah, we just lost 9 dudes so far. It's been a while since I struggled so much in like the mid game. Dang, Polar Bear, Feral Hogs, Rhino, Snappy Turtle. Neither of these are freebies. Rhino could like mess up your team by himself. Same with Polar Bear. Then we'll just go with the hard fight and maybe lose here. We're down 2 dudes already, dang. Poor Bear soloing our team. Did he just like one-shot 3 Quantum dudes? Oh. Rhino and Cassowaries, Polar Bear, and Bench. Just nothing but rhinos and polar bears. We're so dead here. No consumables. Like 2/3 of our team is dead. Like, I know I was picking dudes I thought weren't very good. Like, everyone but the Knight here is someone I wouldn't normally pick. This is kind of confirming my suspicions they're not the best. Because, I mean, they didn't combo the best. I know the game's about synergies. That could be part of the problem. I thought Cleric's like a meh healer. Like, Quam's like an okay healer. Ninja and Wizard are like meh, okay. Knight's a solid tank. But yeah, that team was kind of lame. Dang. I'll change the title. We lost that one, but hmm. I said a tier list after one run. Probably do that actually. I think I'll switch scenes. Just give me a second. Let's exit this. Yeah, I should have popped up the internet before I did that. So, gonna be doing how many dudes tier list. I'd like to preface this by saying how I'm doing this tier list. I'm doing this tier list looking at tier 3 mostly, like how successful I've been with dudes in tier 3, and I'm not considering endless too much either. Just like how consistently I can win with these people on tier 3. So, other than that, I think that's like all I need to preface it with. So, I think, let's see, Alien. Alien to me is he's very synergy dependent. Yeah, he's just not the best without someone that benefits from dash. But he does have some pretty decent utility, right? He has some okay damage in some of his relics. So I think he solidly goes into like middle of B tier, I'd say. Not amazing, not great. Not amazing, not terrible, I mean. And yeah, it just kind of sits around middle of B tier for me. Let me actually... I was thinking about pulling up the game so I could look at the relics to remind myself. But, so Bard is another one. Bard is pretty solid in my experience, right? He's not the best, but he's pretty strong. Bard's weakest point is just he's very squishy. So I think the problem with him is he needs like some survivability trinket or he's just gonna fall apart, right? So I'd place him in like A tier for now. He also does pretty good damage with his overcharged amp, right? So he could be like a decent, decent in mob fights with lots of enemies. Just go ahead and throw like regular dude. Where are the rest? Like Echo dude. Should have done this to start with, but throw all like summons into D tier because they're just not important in the list in my opinion. Anyway, Cave Dude. Cave Dude is simply broken right now. I think he's easily the best damage dealer in the game. Yeah, I mean, his relics, like almost all of them are good, and he's just pretty tanky and does a lot of damage. There's really nothing to complain about with him. I think if you just attach a medical license to him on tier 3, you're like practically invincible. I like stopped doing it on stream because, yeah, it felt too easy to win, and then I just started losing a bunch. It's like a pretty broken strategy, so he sits solidly in S tier. Chef, yeah, Chef. I think Chef is the best healer in the game. Chef, just very consistent heals, moderately tanky with stuff like the what's it called, the catering truck. Gives him like toughness and block chance. They keep scaling, and also his oregano relic is just amazing, right? One of the most broken relics in the game, just buffing all food across the entire party. So I think he sits a little above Cave Dude in my opinion. Cleric. Cleric, just used him in the last run. Did not sell me on him. I think I'm gonna rate him like bottom of C tier. Cleric, did rate him a D tier originally, but I feel like there are some teams that Cleric can work in, right? Just not many, I feel like. He just doesn't do enough damage or enough healing to really shine, in my opinion. Like, all his relics seem decent, so it's kind of weird that he doesn't work out that well. I think it's just, like, the fact that people need to be mobbed up, like your team. Just, there's just some fights where it's not going to be the case too much, and especially early game, makes him kind of fall off. He's just not great. So, Construction Dude. Construction Dude is one of my favorite tanks. I don't think he's the strongest tank, but he's up there in my opinion. He's just like your quintessential tank, in my opinion. Just very tough and very solid at taunting. So I think he's going to go in A tier here. Yeah, I really like him. Spoiler for the rest of the list, he's not the top tank in my opinion, but he's pretty solid. Alright, so Cowboy. Cowboy, let's think. Cowboy's one I've gone back and forth on a little bit, for sure. His base ability, in my opinion, is pretty lame, right? Just doesn't do that much, but he really shines with some relics. Moonshine in particular makes him quite awesome. And then he's got like some other ones that help out as well. And he works, for anyone who doesn't know, his ability is considered a dash, his lasso. So, for example, like Samurai, or some other ones. Like Samurai's the main one I can think of who dashes. He will trigger like synergies with the Samurai's dash. And then the other dash in the game, like Alien is technically a dash. So I think Cowboy goes into B tier here. It's like solid utility. Solid damage as well with his Bandolier and his 6-shooter, right? Well, if you get those two, he's doing like above average damage, I feel like. For like what's supposed to be more of a support character. Support dude. Cyborg. Cyborg is a very simple and straightforward character, I think. You just get Cyborg, and you just pick Cyborg every time you see him, pretty much. I think he fits in A tier, right above Bard a little bit. Yeah, Cyborg. Cyborg is basically only good if you have a ton of them by the end of the run, but you should kind of know going in, if you're picking him, just prioritize him over like everyone else. He does work pretty well with Medical License, not as well as Cave Dude in my experience, but yeah, he can do a ton of damage and a ton of healing with Medical License, and then he's got like a few other trinkets that work pretty well on him. It's kind of like a powerhouse of damage. He just ramps up so hard in like the later tier 2 and tier 3 boss fights, especially tier 3 boss fight. It's hard to think too negatively of him, but he's not like broken enough to be an S tier in my opinion. So, all right, so Dentist. Dentist is Dentist is one of the strongest dudes in the game in my opinion. I think he definitely goes to the S tier. Kind of lost his glamour a little bit to me. Just, I think he still fits in S tier. I just think he's just below Chef. Maybe below Cave Dude. Yeah, I think Cave Dude's a little more broken. He might be like bottom at S tier, the Dentist. He's quite amazing. His base ability is like fine, right? Just reducing damage. But he really shines when you get like most of his relics. Mouthwash and Retainer heal a bunch. Laughing Gas is one of the most broken relics in the game, in my opinion. Like a team that gets one shot easily, suddenly get a bunch of Dentists with Laughing Gas, and you basically cannot get one shot. You can like spam consumables to stay alive, or you can get like some decent healing, and squishy people will not be squishy anymore. Pretty amazing. And he's got like a few other rucks, but they're just fine as well. Yeah, pretty solid support. Maybe that might be understating it. I think he's a really solid support actually, but might not be the top dude just because he's a little too relic dependent, and his base ability isn't that great. So, Druid I think is slept on a little bit. I'm not gonna like sit here and pretend like he's the best damage dealer in the world. But I've heard a lot of people complaining that he is one of the worst dudes, and I don't see it. I've had Druid a bunch of times, and never been like super disappointed to have him on the team. He's like okay damage. He's okay, pretty good survivability actually for a damage dealer, and provides like a little bit of utility with his some of his relics. Right? I think it's like yeah, I can't actually remember the name of it. The one that provides toughness and like attack power to nearby teammates when he goes bear form. And also he does have like an infinitely scaling relic and bear arms. If you have good crit with them, a pretty high stack. I think he's like middle to low B tier. I think. I kind of hyped him up a little bit just because I think a lot of people are saying he's terrible, but I think he's just kind of like decent. I don't love him, but don't hate him either. So Electrician, if I'd done this tier list like a week ago, I probably would have rated Electrician at like C tier. But having played with him a little bit more, he's like a bit better than I thought. The thing is though, you kind of need some synergies with him. Like I've made him go nuts with stuff like Alien dashing him around with like a taser, and then he was doing several thousand DPS with like situations like that. Also had like a laser pointer on that run, I think. So yeah, he can kind of go crazy for sure. It's just he's very like comp dependent, and he's a little bit squishy. So I think he places either high B tier or low A tier. Put him in high B tier because don't think I don't think I'm like I think the fact that he's comp dependent kind of docks him some points, right? I'm not gonna pick him every time I see him, and to me A tier and S tier I'm almost snap picking them if they fit my team comp at all. Not so much in B tier. So he's like one of the better B tier dudes. Explorer. He's kinda just okay. I think he's just kinda like the average healer. I think he fits like into low B tier. Right? He's like a fine healer in a certain sense, but it's just you kinda need like some backup heals with him usually. Because it's just the fact that he waits until they go 30%. That is just not amazing. Right? It does have its upsides that he waits till they're 30% because, right, it'll trigger stuff like force field, half full glass, relics that depend on going lower health. Even like rage bait will trigger, which usually depends on going really low health. But it's just you can kind of get overwhelmed. Your entire team will just start going low eventually, and then his canteen bar won't fill up quick enough, and like any sort of like war of attrition battle, he tends not to be great by himself. He needs like a good damage dealer with medical license or another healer. Or just like some good overall damage reduction, like a paladin maybe could help out a lot, but yeah. I feel like they need to change his healing threshold to be a little higher, like 40-50%, and then I think he'd be like solid. Anyway, moving on to Farmer. Farmer, in my opinion, is the best tank in the game. Not sure how much of a hot take that is because I haven't really looked at other people's tier lists. But Farmer, I don't know. It's just 20% toughness baseline, and then some very amazing relics like Coffee Time basically turns him into a healer. Pitchfork gives him some good cleave, and then taunts, and then like his trucker hat, just like infinite scaling attack power. I've gotten like in the tier 3 boss fight, I've gotten like 1,000 stacks with his trucker hat before, and he was pretty much my top damage on some teams. And then he's just got some like decent relics like Salt Lick. Salt Lick is pretty vital in certain fights. Tons of toughness to start the battle and taunt every enemy. It's great. So he doesn't really have a weak relic, except for maybe Chorlist. Chorlist isn't that amazing. But like almost every other relic is amazing, and just having 20% toughness baseline is great. His ability is not the best, like just donating half his HP he receives to others. But it does shine once you get coffee time. So, yeah, I think that's all I have to say about farmers. So let's move on to finance dude. Finance Dude is weird because he's the only dude whose main focus is like an out of combat effect, which is just generating money. He does have rocks that work in combat, but like not most of them really. Most of them have to do something to do with money, right? His NFT, his life insurance, just pure money, and even the ones that benefit other things like financial calculator, it's just not like, amazing. The combat portion, pretty much you need like a line of credit with this guy and a lot of money to make him shine in combat. So I think he's like middle of B tier, maybe high B tier, because it's just having money is very helpful in this game. It's just that's basically all he does. He's like tanky enough with all his relics, right? He gets a little bit of defense and he gets a 4-second cooldown and a revive. So he doesn't really hold your team back too much if you have all his relics. But he's basically just there to be a money generator. He could, like, if the thing is, he's also a little bit comp dependent because, like, if you get zombie with him, if you have zombie already, and you're looking at that context, he might be S tier because just like life insurance on zombie is just like infinite money for the run, right? My furthest endless run was with Finance Dude zombie because it's just obnoxious. You just have like every rogue way in the run, and then you can stack up a bunch of money for line of credit as well. Yeah, very powerful. But in the vacuum, I think he's just like just solid, right? All right, Frankendude. Frankendude to me, not sure if others are gonna agree, but I think he's just like the most average healer. Right? He's just like far from the best, far from the worst. Just kind of sits in the middle there. So I think he just goes into like middle of B tier. Probably above Cowboy, between Cowboy and Alien. So Frankendude, he heals based upon his max HP essentially. He just has good regen, and then he donates a percentage of his HP every second. Right? Yeah, I think it's just like fine. Not really much to say about him. I would say there are a couple rugs that really stand out on him. Like Organ Donor List can go absolutely nuts with revives. It's like the only revive in the game I know of that revives other dudes on such a low cooldown. Like 15-second cooldown, I think is, if I'm not mistaken, is for the individual that's getting revived. So I've had like hundreds of revives in a round with him. And he has and even though he donates his health due to revive, he just has enough health and regen that he can kind of sustain it in some fights. I mean, eventually you'll die, but yeah, like he can definitely save some fights with his Organ Donor List. The other relic that sticks out is Organ Bucket. If you have a Necro dude on the team, it might be like another Finance Dude kind of situation where if you had a Necro dude on the team, this guy would probably jump to S tier because his Organ Bucket scales off unconscious dudes, and Necro dude here summons a bunch of skill dudes who die very easily, and his Organ Bucket scales based upon unconscious dudes. So in that case, Frankendude would be terrific. I've had him be like a top damage dealer into tier 3 boss, because yeah, like Organ Bucket can just get hundreds of stacks, 5% attack power each, and then he's just kind of obnoxious. But other than that, like specific scenario, he's just like an average healer to me. Like not upset to take him, but not thrilled either. So General Dude is one of the dudes I've played with the least, so this is one of my least confident rankings, I think. But I think he just goes into like low B tier. He has very good utility, right? But like his base ability, he has to taunt, right? He missed the first person beneath him taunt, so you already have to have someone who you want taunting. And he has very good utility in like his relics. He just kind of lacks any like throughput. You know, he like doesn't do like much healing, doesn't do much healing temporary health. But that I think I repeated myself. He doesn't do much damage. He doesn't do much healing or temporary health. So he's just like decent. He like buffs the dude beneath him and provides like a overall like okay amount of output. Yeah. There's not much else to say about him, just because I haven't played with him enough to really know in what situations he might be busted. I never was like too disappointed by him. He's just like fine to me. So Ghost Dude. Ghost Dude I think is one of the better healers. I think he goes top of A tier for now. Might change slightly. Yeah, I think he's above the Construction Dude. Yeah, let's move this. Yeah. Ghost Dude, for anyone who doesn't know, his ability is he equalizes the HP between the highest and lowest, and then heals them for a percentage of his attack power. It's like a solid ability. I mean, obviously the most HP person can afford to lose HP, and then he heals them both. So just nice. He really shines with his relics, in my opinion. His most important relic to get by the end game is probably Lint Roller. That relic makes it so if he takes more than 10% of his health and damage, he splits it between a few other people. Without that relic, he is probably just gonna get like one shot pretty much. That's the main problem with him. He's like probably the squishiest healer. There's a few other relics that slightly buff his survivability, like the fresh sheets, but yeah, just his healing output is just enough, and the Lint Roller gives him enough survivability. They can kind of. He's just one of the better healers for sure, at least in my opinion. So Hacker Dude to me is just solid. The thing about Hacker Dude is you need a lot of crit, and you need his red team relic to make him work. So in that case, I think I'm just gonna put him like high B tier, I think, because the thing is, he can kind of just pop off, but you need a lot of crit chance and you need red team. So if you don't see either of those, like a pretzel food for him, or like some sort of crit trinket, like a ghillie suit. Although ghillie suit's a little weird because he has the what's it called? Firewall or something that gives him immunity to cleave. But otherwise, if you don't just get some way to get crit chance on him, he kind of just underperforms, and you need red team to make it actually do something. But if he gets that, then he should be your top damage dealer at that point most of the time, right? Had some successful runs putting medical license on him as well, because he's in his damage output and enough survivability. Pretty solid. I think he's just being docked points because you have to do that combo I just mentioned. Otherwise he's just not great. So yeah, like having one relic that like makes or breaks you means if you don't see that relic, you're gonna have a bad time, and that's not very good. So yeah, but he's still solid though. Alright, Knight. I think Knight is one of the better tanks in the game. Probably fit him somewhere around Construction Dude. Let's see. I think I prefer Knight over Construction Dude just barely in like a vacuum. So the Knight is just same as the Construction Dude. He's just like your quintessential tank. He does nothing really special or flashy. He just taunts and he doesn't take much damage. And sometimes that's all you need in a tank, so. To me, where Knight shines the most is his abundance of taunts, his abundance of max HP, and yeah, his belted greaves. His belted greaves are very important, I think. Just providing 10% toughness to the team, assuming you have 10 of them. Very helpful for making squishy teams a little less squishy. Yeah, he's just all his relics are solid in my opinion. Unlike the Hacker, he doesn't really have an over-reliance on one relic. That's pretty good. So yeah, it's just solid tank. Probably second or third best tank if I had to guess. Let's see. Necro Dude, I've changed my opinion on since I initially thought up a tier list idea. Necro Dude, I would have placed him in C tier. Because I struggled getting him gold starter in tier 3. But I think that's because I didn't know how to use him well at the time. So I think Necro Dude is actually high B tier. Granted, I would place him like low C tier, so high B tier that's a bit of a difference for sure. And I think Necro Dude's strong points is when you get any dude who combos with him well, like Franken Dude, as mentioned earlier. Anyone who benefits from teammates dying is gonna be very happy. Like Cave Dude has his I think it's called Karen if I'm not mistaken. That he throws his rocks when teammates die or dudes die. So stuff like that. Anything that benefits from deaths makes Necro Dude just go amazing because he summons so many Skeletal Dudes. You're gonna constantly have Skeletal Dudes dying, right? And he has some decent utility relics like his calcium pills makes his Skeletal Dude deaths heal. The Flaming Skull makes his Skeletal Dudes actually do decent like air effect damage. Yeah, and also probably his best relic that you mentioned is probably the Frenzy Stone. Frenzy Stone just giving 30% attack speed to the whole team is obnoxious. That is just a huge buff. Granted, you have to get to the 30% stack, but in the late game, that should be pretty easy to accomplish. Alright, so Witch Dude. Witch Dude. I'm not sold on Witch Dude. I know there's some people who rate him pretty highly. Sorry. I just think he's below average. Maybe I'm not using him right. I've heard people throw him on like damage dealers and then get the damage dealers to do a bunch more damage. I've mostly used him as like a tank support kind of thing, just like put the tank beneath them. But I might be just playing him wrong. I definitely haven't played with him a lot. He's like top of C tier for me. He has some decent utility in all his relics. He taunts with some of his relics, and his ability is complicated, but it is like a decent ability baseline. Definitely shines in the late game when you can get a bunch of Revenant stacks because there's just so much damage going out. It's just like I feel like his Revenant stacks aren't frequent enough and like powerful enough to really make me thrilled about it. Because even with a bunch of Revenant stacks, the damage buff isn't that significant. And then throwing them to half HP, it's just not the best. Like, you don't want your people losing half their health if they're healthy. So it's just weird. Yeah, I don't think I have much else to say about him. I'm trying to think. Yeah, it's like kind of blah to me. Could try him more in the future, throwing him on like DPS and stuff, just to see if the DPS can pop off. Because I have heard people have success with that. I still think it's a bit of a hot take. Some people throw him in like A or S tier. That's kind of crazy to me. But I need to experiment more with them for sure. Manager Dude. Manager Dude is like the worst, I think, at the kind of thing he does, which is like yeah, like fit well with DPS because he copies a percentage of the damage of his teammates. Thing is, the damage he copies is kind of low, and yeah, you kind of have a few good damage dealers already, which I just might be my play style. I tend to go like support heavy. Get like a tank, get like a damage dealer or two, and then like some support. So in my experience, Manager just doesn't do that much damage. Could be due to my playstyle, but I think, yeah, it's just like an underwhelming ability, and he just doesn't have any relics that are like amazing. His Pizza Party does help him provide some healing, which is great. Just like not enough to really really be like an off healer per se. I don't know. He's just like meh in my experience. Might even deserve D tier, but we'll put him at the bottom of C tier for now. Medic. This is no hot take, I think, for anyone who's watched or played this game. He's just going like bottom of D tier. Medic just doesn't do that much healing for a healer, and he's not tanky enough, and he does a little damage. He has essentially no strong suit right now. I know they plan on buffing him, but as of this patch, he's just like a never pick for me. Easily the worst healer. Mummy, barely better, I think. He goes right above Medic. Mummy to me is the worst damage dealer focus, or most worst damage focus dealer, in the game, right? He He's like the medic. He doesn't really have a strong suit. He does like okay damage. He gets a good amount of kills. So I guess if you look at the stat sheet, it would look like he's pretty good. But he's basically just kill stealing with his Doom. And his ability's fine. He just needs like some slight adjustments for sure. Because he doesn't do enough damage and he doesn't have enough survivability. Yeah. He's just kind of weak in all departments, basically. And he provides a little bit of healing with his one relic. But it's not like an amazing amount of healing. So it's just like, as far as like damage, survivability, and like support output, just weak in every department. Basically never pick him. In tier 3 at least, if I'm trying to win. Mutant. Mutant is probably pretty far up there. I think Mutant is top A tier for now. Mutant, for anyone who doesn't know, when he does direct damage, he creates foofballs. Foofballs basically get stored on the dude it's supposed to heal. And when that dude takes enough damage, the foofball will go off. This guy kind of goes nuts with other healers, in my experience. Like, he might be able to solo heal tier 3, depending on your comp. But with another healer, he just kind of goes crazy, because the thing is, the other healer will be healing enough to keep the dudes alive a bit, and he'll just stack up so many foofballs that you basically use foofballs as needed, but have like an impenetrable wall of foofballs on everyone, eventually. It's just like, yeah, it's just a solid line of defense with other healers. So, to me, he's like the second or third best healer. Which pairs very well with other healers, and there's no comp I feel like he's just bad in. He just kind of fits in like any comp. Pretty much. But it just doesn't provide the utility Chef does, so he doesn't go in S tier, I think. It's a very solid, strong healer in my experience, so. Ninja. Let's think. Ninja is one I haven't had the most success with. He was one of the last dudes I gold starred on tier 3. He's just a bit squish and doesn't provide the damage output that you would want in order to justify that squishiness, right? I think he fits solidly at the top of C tier, which is sad. I wish he was higher, but I feel like in tier 3 you just get punished for having squishy teams, right? There's some tougher enemies I won't spoil in case people haven't gotten to tier 3. But those enemies will just like one-shot ninjas often. Their only saving grace is like their decent evasion and their smoke bomb. It's like an okay line of defense, but they can actually just get one-shot in certain scenarios. So yeah, just not great, and they just don't do like enough damage. It can be very satisfying to see a million shurikens flying per second, and their damage is like solid. Yeah, but their squishiness just makes them not desirable in my opinion. I've picked him a few times in tier 3 after gold starring him and been disappointed with him like every time, so. Okay, so Paladin. Paladin to me is the best damage reduction character in the game. He's like one of the best supports I'd consider him. I consider him a support because he doesn't taunt, doesn't really fit the tank role. And even though he doesn't heal, he does effectively heal if you squint hard enough, in the sense that he just reduces damage by a ton. So it makes your healing easier. I would put him at the bottom of S tier. This one might be my hottest take, because I see a lot of people placing him in like B and C tier. From like people I've talked to. I've talked to like a few people about how they tier list people. They're putting him in like B and C tier. But Paladin is just he just fits in like every comp in my experience. There's no comp I'm like sad to have Paladin in. Right? He's definitely not top S tier, and I think the reason for that is he really needs certain relics to shine. You really need Golden Shield on him, or like not enough dudes are gonna be blessed. You really need like oversized pauldrons in combo with that, or yeah, there's just not going to be enough damage reduction. But yeah, he also has two lines of defense, like revive wise. He has the medallion and the what is it? The book. I forget what it's called, but it's a book, and it revives him if he takes damage if he dies from his blessing. So yeah, he just very hard to kill and provides lots of utility for your team. He does notably do very little damage, even with his hammer smiting, but that's not really his role. So, all right, so pirate. Pirate, I've been thinking about it a little bit. I think he'll go into either A or B tier. He's a very solid tank. It's just I think he's only solid, like best really, if you combo him with other people who need evasion or provide evasion. Because then he synergizes pretty well. I think we'll put him at the bottom of A tier. Barely slips into A tier. Yeah, he's just solid, right? He taunts a lot, which is great, and he has pretty good max health with those relics. And then he just evades a lot, which is pretty helpful. And on top of that, he also has the Cutlass, I believe it's called, that he can scale crit damage infinitely, no max stacks on it. So if you get some crit and evasion on him, he can be like your main tank and a pretty good damage dealer in like long fights. Yeah, just like a solid tank. Yeah, I think we'll put Bomb at A tier. I think he barely slips in. So that's where I put Pirate. Yeah. I think I changed my mind about him too. He used to be in B tier for me, but he's just too well rounded, I think. Psionic. I think he's going into low B tier. He's one of the worst tanks in the game, in my experience. Yeah, there's not really many tanks in the low tiers, in my experience. They're all just like solid. He's like okay. He shines really in the deflection team because he has stuff like I feel like where he shines the most is you get like neural net on him, and then you get like face tattoo on him. There's like a few other trinkets that are decent on, but face tattoo really makes him shine. If he can absorb all the deflected damage with his stuff like his anti-fragility implant, yeah, just solid. But the thing is, he's not too great in like teams that don't have a lot of deflection outside of him. So that's why he gets docked 3 points. And I just don't feel like his ceiling is not that high. I don't think he does one thing amazingly well. He's just like alright, in my experience. Alright, so Quantum Dude. Quantum Dude he's alright for a healer, but I've heard people say this guy's like S tier. I don't see it. Like his healing is solid, but not like amazing, and that's obviously the main thing you want from like a healer. I think he's going into like IB tier. Like solid healing, solid survivability with some relics, the ones that gives him max HP, one that gives him regeneration. He doesn't die too easily. He doesn't provide the most amount of support, like he gives evasion with his one relic to nearby teammates, so he could combo well with like Pirate, for example. Some other people need evasion, right? But yeah, he just doesn't do any one thing amazingly, I think, in my experience. But he doesn't do anything so poorly either that he belongs in C or D tier. So, Ranger, putting him straight into the bottom of C tier. He barely scrapes D tier in my experience. Ranger is just like squishy and does just like okay damage. His damage is like okay enough most of the time that he does avoid the D tier, but he is one of the worst damage dealers in the game in my experience. He doesn't have much that helps him survive in his relics, so yeah, not much else to be said about him. He does have like an infinitely scaling rock, I think is Amulet, right? But my experience has low trigger chance, and I think you have to crit to trigger it, right? You can kind of tell I haven't played Ranger that much. I can't even remember what his rugs do really that well. But yeah, the Amulet, it's just like one of the worst infinitely scaling rugs in the game to me. Like I didn't ever get like a ton of stacks of it, right? So I think he's just kind of lame. All right, so Samurai. Samurai is one of the most relic dependent dudes in the game in my experience. But the thing is, he kind of just goes nuts with all his relics, and especially if you like pair it with like a pretzel giving crit chance, like a ghillie suit giving crit chance, because he's all about crit, the Samurai, all about critting and dashing. So you pair him with like some crit stuff, you pair him with like an alien, even like something else that can make him dash. Kind of blanking right now, but there's other ways to make him dash, and he just pops off. But the thing is, you kind of need to meet a lot of these conditions, and you need a lot of his rocks. So he's very hit or miss in my experience. I think he just drops into like the middle of B tier. Yeah, you can tell a lot of people are going to B tier, which is a good sign, to me at least, that the game's decently balanced. If a lot of people were in like A to C tier, that's pretty good. Yeah, he's just like he's like an average damage dealer to me, but just very hit or miss. He just has like a high deviation. You either have his relics and some crit stuff, and he's going nuts, or you don't, and he's just kind of bleh. Makes him kind of in the middle then, averaging that out. All right, so Spartan. Spartan is interesting, because Spartan to me is, I view him as like a support. I think a lot of people think of him as a tank. He's got a shield, he has good health, right? But he doesn't taunt, and he doesn't aggro in any way, and he doesn't, yeah, he just doesn't taunt in any way, right? So I don't view him as a tank. I think tanks have to taunt in some way, get the attention of the enemy. I view him as a support, and as far as supports go, I think he's one of the worst ones. I think he's just going to be like lowish B tier, maybe just below Cowboy. I think he's worse than Cowboy and Franken support-wise. And I think part of the reason for this is his support is like okay, like just blocking stuff, great. And he blocks stuff enough that it's pretty helpful as well. His damage prevented usually is one of my higher ones on the team. He's just a tad squishy and doesn't provide that much utility for the team. And outside of shield spikes, he doesn't do much damage. Shield spikes makes him do like a solid amount of damage. But it's really the only one that provides damage among his relics, really. So, yeah. It's not the best support, but not the worst either. Wouldn't mind seeing him get like some health buff or some blocking chance buff or something. Yeah. Obviously, I'd like these guys to get buffs more, but most of them are, I think, as far as I'm aware. Agent to me is a support as well because he just provides temporary health with his base ability. Thing is, he's just not great. To me, I think he's like middle C tier. Agent, his base ability is kind of lame, right? Like I just said. He doesn't have the most amazing rocks. He's got like a few that are okay. Like Cool Shades provides some good damage. Piano Wire provides some good damage. He's got the one that provides like a buff to his assets that he dashes to, and he's got the one that like infinitely scales the cuff briefcase. You would think, with all that being said, that he would be good. I just haven't had the best experience with him. I feel like I often get a healer who's maybe not amazing, just like a decent healer, like let's say Franken Dude or Quantum Dude, and I like, alright, I don't have the greatest healer, I'll throw an Agent Dude on the team, right? And then just like, he's not helping enough to let them solo heal. He's just, like you would think he would provide a good amount of support, but it's just my experience, he doesn't. And he does solid damage, but yeah, not enough to get him out of C tier in my eyes at least. Alright, so Assassin. Assassin is pretty good to me. I don't think he's S tier good. Right, he's not like He's not going to really win you the run by himself in any way. He's not like broken. He's not a snap pick, but he is just quite good. I think he's like right around cyborg in strength, maybe just below. So Assassin's base ability, for anyone who doesn't know, is he just has a chance to apply this toxin, which reduces the damage of the enemy. Pretty good base ability, but he has some pretty amazing relics. One makes it so his toxin stacks make them miss. Another one is like a bunch of them just like start adding extra stacks and extra attack power and stuff. And then he has a pretty good relic, which is his nebulizer. When they're at max stacks, he does a bunch of damage to them. That will be like the majority of his damage in a lot of fights. It's that good for a relic. So just like decent damage, well, good damage with the nebulizer, and just like a lot of utility. Kind of similar to the Paladin or Dentist, just making your enemies do less damage. Very helpful. Yeah, not much else to say about him. Just like very solid. Don't mind him. He also has like okay defenses with his evasion, right? Gets a good amount of evasion, some max HP with his relics. Though he doesn't die super easily. Not the tankiest DPS, but still. Alright, so Time Dude. Time Dude. I've been told I'm sleeping on Time Dude. Like, I know he can go nuts in some scenarios, like, but I just haven't had that much experience with him, and yeah, I haven't ever seen him just go absolutely nuts. I have tried what people say, putting him next to, like, powerful DPS, which is obviously how he shines. It's pretty obvious from his ability. You want him next to your strongest DPS. But I just don't think he provides much utility. Provides like no healing basically. Yeah, it's like, and it's also my playstyle, as I mentioned earlier. I tend to go support and like tank heavy a little bit. Maybe I'm just not drafting out damage dealers to really make him go nuts. I think he's just like top of C tier. He's like, it would depend on your playstyle. If you're more damage heavy in your drafting, you probably fit into like A or B tier, because then you just slam between two good damage dealers, and he's providing a lot extra damage, right? But at least the way I play, it's like mediocre, kind of lame. Doesn't do enough damage to warrant being on the team usually. Alright, so Trooper Dude. Trooper Dude. Trooper Dude, I've been told I sleep on a little bit. I would have put him in C tier before, but since people have been telling me I'm sleeping on him, I've decided to use him a few times since then, and he is a bit better than I thought. Yeah, he's not going in like a super high tier, but he's like solid. I think he goes into like somewhere around like Samurai Hacker Strength. He's not going to ARS tier because I still think he's very relic dependent. Like you need spray and pray pretty much to make him shine, and then you need to get like some crit in some way on top of that, and then you need like some of his certain relics like a shock helmet to really make him survive. So he's one of those dudes where if you're missing those couple key relics, he's not really doing much. But he can just kind of go crazy a little bit if you have those like all or most of his relics. So, yeah, like kind of average, but very hit or miss like the Samurai. Similar deal with him. Vampire. Vampire is like my favorite off healer kind of dude. He's not exactly like Quam Dude, Ghost Dude, Mutant Dude, where he's just like pure healing focused. But he does enough off healing and enough damage that he kind of fits that role of like, I need a little bit more healing, but I also just need a good bit more damage, right? So I think he goes into like a little bit low in A tier, like a little below Bard and Assassin. There's a lot of teams I want him in, but he doesn't provide enough healing to warrant really being called a healer in my opinion. But he also just does a lot of damage, and he's very hard to kill with his full kit, right? I've had definitely had some rounds where it's just like, everybody's dying but the Vampire. Vampire just doesn't die. He has the bat wings, he's got the blood siphon, he's got a lot of lifesteal, just healing him up. Dude just does not die. He refuses to die, which is weird because he's not tank. But just well-rounded and like immortal until the rest of your team dies pretty much. So low A tier for me. Viking. Viking, to me, is one of the best damage dealers in the game. His base ability is solid, right? Just like 5% chance when he attacks. Gets a bunch of attack speed and run speed. 5% is a little low, but you can kind of play around it with some of his relics, and you can play around it with like some trinkets you could throw on him. Certain teammates can go nuts, just make him go nuts as well. So I think he's going into pretty high A tier, probably right slam between these four. A little better than Knight and Construction Dude. A little worse than Mutant and Ghost. He's just like a good damage dealer. One of the best, really. He berserks very often with all his relics combined. He also, with one relic, can make other dudes go berserk, so he provides a little bit of utility in that sense. He has a revive. I think it's like the Odin Amulet. Very good. And he's tanky enough with like his Wolfskin Cloak. And there might be like another survivability rock I'm not thinking of off the top of my head. But yeah, he just very like solid tankiness, solid damage. Doesn't really have a weak point other than the fact he doesn't provide much support outside of making people go berserk on his team. Doesn't provide a lot of healing or damage reduction, but yeah, it's like does his role well. Good damage, doesn't die very easily. So like high A tier for me. Warlock. Warlock is to me one of like the more mediocre tanks. I don't think he's going as low as Psionic. I think he's not going much higher, like maybe right around here. Like I'm never like super disappointed to have him on the team, but I'm never like thrilled either. Right? He has a very good base ability, don't get me wrong. His base ability is kind of obnoxious for like just like no support from the relics. But I feel like his relics are just a little lackluster. Like there's not really any to me that just make him go nuts. Like he doesn't really he doesn't really do a lot of damage, he doesn't really do a lot of healing. And his survivability is solid with all his relics, but I think some of the tanks in A tier are probably a little better survival. Like Knight and Construction Dude, pretty tanky. Farmer Dude provides way more utility, which is why I explained earlier he's in S tier. Warlock is just kinda, he's okay. Yeah. So Wizard to me is another one who's somewhat relic dependent. Not as much as like Samurai Trooper though. But if you don't have like Ever Burning Torch, for example, he's probably just gonna start dying. Right? Yeah. But his damage is solid enough, and with Ever Burning Torch and some other stuff he has, his survivability is okay with certain relics like those. So I think he goes into B tier, just trying to decide like how high. I think he is slightly higher than like the Trooper and Samurai because he's a little less relic dependent. It has like a similar amount of potential to me, where it's just like pretty good, but he doesn't. Yeah, like he doesn't just fall apart if you don't have the key relics usually. So, it's like a solid B tier to me. Zombie. The last dude, Zombie. So Zombie, to me, it's one of the better tanks in the game. Not sure if I'd put him as the best. Well, definitely not putting him at the best, but he has a lot of crazy synergies, and he has a lot of damage in his kit for a tank. Thing is, you kind of have to stack a good bit of them, and you can still kind of get burned if he starts blowing up from his explosive innards, and then you get no willing flesh procs, or like a bunch of zombies die during the cooldown of it, so willing flesh has less chance to go off. But he is just like quite good still. A lot of damage, a lot of tankiness. Probably like the best consistent DPS, like damage dealer of the tanks. I think I'll put him in like the middle of A tier. Yeah, just like very good, right? I mean, it's just he has a couple weak points, but usually happy to have a zombie on the team. So, all right, so that's my tier list for anyone who skipped to the end. be curious to know if what what ranks you agree with, what ranks you disagree with. I'm gonna throw this up on YouTube, so hoping you guys comment on YouTube and let me know what you think. Yeah. I'll catch you guys later. Bye.